Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Best Life and Beyond. This is the weekly blab that doesn't happen every week.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
We try.
We do try. So what this is our unedited,
Yeah.
one take, kind of, it's almost like a podcast, but it's not because, you know, we have it visual and...
It's a pod tube.
Pod tube?
That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's more conversational, it's a little bit looser. And this is where we discuss kind of our week prior, usually the week of, and what's coming up, and just, you know, that kind of thing, basically.
So for this one, this episode is, if you will, this is going to kind of cover everything that's been going on for the last week at Disneyland. I think there's a lot to discuss about that, a lot of our thoughts and feelings on that.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss kind of what we plan to do. And then we are going to get to the point where we talk about our trip that we're taking. So it's pretty big. We're really excited. Some of you already know, but we're going to kind of give you more details about it as opposed to like, hey, we're going here and that's it.
Right.
So, yeah, without further ado, let's start off with the last couple weeks. Since you last, when was our last weekly blab?
When was the last time we blabbed?
Was it in Palm Springs?
No,
okay.
I think we blabbed here, but
wow.
I think the idea though is that I don't think we've blabbed since the initial everything, you know, got opened, everything kind of
oh yeah, you're right.
do you know what I mean? Like as far as the parks
that.
are concerned, there was a big build up obviously to opening days, and as well as Avengers Campus happening, and as well as now the, you know, no masks and no distancing, all the restrictions being lifted. So a lot has happened, and now we're on this side of it. It's interesting because like we've looked forward to this, all of this stuff for a long time, and it's been coming in little doses. It's been coming in phases, and you know, each week there's something new, or there's something that, oh, now this is open, and now...
Yeah, this week they said that cast members don't need to wear masks if they are vaccinated outdoors. And then they also don't have to do their social distancing, anything like that anymore. So that's pretty cool, as long as, you know, the whole vaccination thing is apparent. And I think they just don't want to do it all at once with the cast members, like... You know, if you take what
they're phasing that
and
part
all that
too.
stuff, they're just kind of trying to phase it because they don't want to, you know, it would be a big change for them, like all at once. So
I guess so. I mean, I think the whole thing is in phases for a reason, and you know.
Well, it's kind of a shock to the system a little bit, like.
I guess so. I'm one of those people though that's like
rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, because I go back to how it all started. It all started and it kind of came down in one fell swoop, and everything shut down. And it was like, you know, in one move kind of, it shut down, but then it takes 400 moves to get it back. I'm one of those people who's like, just do the opposite of what we did before.
Well, I get the phasing of like reopening things because of cast members not being available.
Yeah. Like
they are having a huge issue at Disneyland. I can't speak for Walt Disney World, but I do know at Disneyland it's a big issue because
no, that makes sense.
You know, we are so low in cast members. Like we are beyond low. So a lot of people keep asking like, oh yeah, when are trams coming back? When is this coming back? When is that coming back? A lot of this is dependent on the cast members coming back. It's not so much like a safety precaution anymore because we're past that.
That's
you
true.
know, for the most part. Like state guidelines, CDC guidelines are just different now.
Yeah.
We all have the difference or the choice to kind of like choose, you know, what we want to do, because there are still people that wear their mask. There are still people that won't do a lot of the really more indoor cues and all that stuff, and that's completely fine, and I support that. So
I guess that is the deal. It's not really a
yeah, it's not, oh, we can't go on. Maybe like the submarines, but I feel like people wouldn't really go on it anyways because there's more people that are still really uncomfortable. It's a lot to recover from.
Yeah, I guess mentally it is. I mean, when you think about it, I'm very, like
You're
you
different,
said, for me personally, I just want
to rip the Band-Aid
and
off.
I'll flip it immediately and then deal with you know, the mentals afterwards. But I get it that there's a lot
Right.
of people who are just like kind of whoa, 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 and it's like
I think the biggest thing is though that I think maybe not everybody is learning this, but I think the world is starting to grasp is that not everybody thinks the same way.
right, and that's a tough thing. Even though I know that,
deal.
it's a tough thing to sometimes realize, even for, I guess, for certain situations where you're like, well, everybody wants Disneyland to be open. Not necessarily.
No.
So you know, for things that seem so obvious to me, I guess I have to remember, like, even when, before the world broke, there was people I remember talking to at work that would say, I wouldn't go to Disneyland if you paid me, and I despise that place, and
Right.
why would you go there, and all that. And I kind of go, that's
How?
weird, and then I realized, well, I guess that makes sense, that it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
That's kind of the, you know, the barometer for me there. But yeah, I mean,
It's pretty interesting though. So yeah, it's definitely, you know, one of those things that's progressing as we go. And
yeah,
and I'm glad though, because I do see people getting more comfortable, and it is a good reward for, you know, surviving this thing and
Yeah.
getting your vaccination if you believe it, you know, and you can get it, and you know, because to think that this would just go on forever and ever and ever, like 5 years, 10 years, it's a little.
Well, yeah, because we are generally
crazy.
creatures of habit, and so that was long enough to get into a habit of that type of
Sure
lifestyle
was.
for people.
There's still times where I'm like doing our laundry and I find our masks and I'm like, whoa, like, I mean, we always keep them on us because you
Yeah.
just never know if somebody's guidelines are going to be there. But for the most part, we have not needed to use them. Like, do you
Yeah.
realize that? Like,
It's kind of weird, yeah. I thought about that the other day because I keep bringing it with me when we go to the park. And then I did this thing the other day that I may have mentioned on a vlog, or I don't know if I did or not, but I saw somebody without a mask on. I like kind of had looked up and saw.
oh, in New Orleans Square?
Yeah, and I
remember
saw
that,
a
yeah.
guy without a mask walking up to one of the food kiosks or whatever, and I immediately was like, dude, what does this guy think he's doing?
He's breaking the rules.
Like, I thought, this dude, really, bro? And then it was all in this 1 millisecond that I realized that, and then I realized, like, what are you thinking? Like, I just bounced back to that old way of thinking, or the way we've had to think for over a year. And so then I thought, oh my gosh, like,
Doesn't
it's
it make
still
sense, though, why so many people are so edgy and angry
Oh,
at
yeah.
one another? Because there's so... You almost can't blame the world, though, because there's so many, you know, things. Even at the height of this, it was like, you're doing something wrong. Everybody has all their beliefs, their
Yeah.
feelings, anxiety, depression on top
Yeah, I
of
only did it
like,
just that one time, but there's people that are probably doing it a lot.
oh,
and
you can only
it's
imagine.
hard to break your rhythm of what that was, because we were forced to get so used to it that we acclimated as humans. That's what we do.
Yeah, regardless though, I'm just happy we're back in the park feeling normal. Now, the one thing though I will say I am just dying to have back is the annual passes.
Well, yeah.
That is
I would
the
take
hardest
that.
thing.
Would you? Here's a question. Would you take? And I already know the answer to this, but it's like, would you take the annual passes over like the tram and the monorail coming back?
Oh, annual passes
Yeah,
all the way.
I
I'll
guess
do
it's
the
not
walk of... That walk is awful. Like,
Yeah.
it's awful. We now do the... If we park in the Pixar Palace parking structure or even Mickey and Friends, we will walk over the Coco Crossing Bridge.
Yeah, into downtown Disney.
And then we go through downtown Disney, which makes it a lot better because we can say hi to World of Disney Tim. I mean,
Well, and there's
that's a plus. Starbucks.
It looks nice. There's themed music. You're in the experience already, and like.
And bless them, they tried with the tram route.
No, they tried, and they have music over there. So really, it's not like they don't have theme music on the tram route, but it's just not designed for that.
No.
And it just feels weird, and it's,
I think it's
especially after a long day, it's like you do not want to have to walk that.
Didn't Bricky say it on his vlog on, he said, he explained it best. When you're walking down into Disneyland, you're kind of hustling because you're all excited.
Sure.
And by the time you get there, you're kind of like gassed out. You're not like ready for it. Like all of us locals especially, we're not used to that.
Yeah.
And so we get there and we're like, oh my gosh, this is not cool. And then
well, you've burned out all your Main Street energy.
Right.
Normally you'd have that
Yes.
energy on Main Street.
Yes.
You have just enough energy. You get out of the car, you
right.
go down the escalators, go through security, get on the tram. Okay, you've expended just a little bit of energy,
Right.
as opposed to walking down that whole tram route. And by the time you get there, you're like, okay,
Wow, that was exhausting.
wow, like we could have gone to Toontown and back and still not done that same distance. And
And then it's like when you're done with the day, I mean, enough said.
Oh.
Now, trust me, I wonder if people at Walt Disney World probably laugh at us when we complain about this tram route thing, because they walk and walk and walk and walk. But I think the difference is first of all, we're not used to it here.
yeah,
Second of all, I think our brains are programmed that we just go on that tram route. Like, it's been in existence. It was a big part. I have Snapchats on my phone because I used to go on Snapchat, and every time I was on the tram, I did my Snapchat with my characters and whatnot. And so I think there's a little bit of the programming thing. And then the third thing is, it's just a long walk, and there's nothing going on, nothing to look at. When there's things to look at, it takes your brain to another dimension.
well, yeah, and it's
Disney dimension.
well, it's also the tram for me was always a little bit of but it was always a little barometer of what the day was going to be like, because you got a sense of kind of the crowd and how many people were going and what types of people were there that day, because we can tell you there's certain days when there's like more like locals or APs. There's certain days when there is clearly like a bunch of high schools, or there's cheer groups.
Right.
You can sense this difference in the collective
energy,
community and the collective energy. And so sometimes you could read that on the tram of like, oh, like, you could tell there's a bunch of like, groups here today, or you can just, I don't know, you get a read on the day of the excitement level of what's going on, or if you're there for maybe something new has dropped, and you can hear the buzz on the tram of everybody talking
about it.
Plus
that, I just miss the options of like being able to take the monorail in, or walk from Pixar Pals, or take the tram. It's just those things. And notice how I conveniently leave out the Toy Story smelly sock bus. I have never, ever liked the Toy Story situation. The buses, that whole lot is so confusing to me. It's not organized. It's like,
it's too
I don't
bad.
know where Jesse's at. I don't know. Like, it's something like that. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's something about the vastness of that one level, and it's in the sun. And then it's just too bad that there's not an open air tram from over there with like a dedicated, maybe a bridge or something, or a tunnel that gets you safely to Disneyland. And the reason it's a bus is because it's on city streets. It's 100% the only reason.
It's so different how like Disneyland is in this, like, it's literally in, I mean, I know it's in Anaheim, but it's in this like functional city where like it's just different than Walt Disney World. It's so different.
Well, that's why I think maybe that Disneyland Forward project will change that, because if they're going to add stuff over there like they talked about.
Well, yeah, in all directions almost.
Right,
like,
and then that bridge and all that stuff, like get a dedicated access from that side of things to make it more functional, because you got to admit, a lot of people come from that side. A lot of people are staying in off-property hotels. That side is, I think, receiving more attention than it ever has. And no?
Actually less.
Okay.
Spencer was never really like down here as much before on that side.
Yeah, I was always making friends.
You were always making friends at Pixar.
Get off the freeway and just go right in the flyover.
Or even downtown Disney.
Right.
You were never over in the harbor side, so you're like, oh
well,
yeah, like
I guess my point is it very much deserves more attention over there as far as theming and how to get to the park and easier access, because it's
we definitely need it. Now, speaking of Disneyland expanding and changing, we need to talk about the Toontown demolition.
Oh my gosh.
So apparently they had to tell I had seen talk. I think it was on somebody's Instagram. They copied it from Twitter. So originally it would have came from Twitter. Or it was in one of my Disneyland groups that I follow on Facebook. But apparently somebody was supposed to go work the demo, like the next day that, like, you know, we saw the images and the videos, and they called it off because I think they didn't want to do it during park hours because, like, us Disney people were so messed up from it. Like,
but I thought they did do it during.
They did, but it was the next day that they were supposed to do more. Which
also kind of opens up that whole thing of they never do this. They never do that kind of stuff during park hours, like as far as I've ever seen. Yeah. Unless they're in a rush or if it's far enough away. But that's like a working land and, you know, just divided by a wall, and they did this during park hours. And so what does that tell you? Does that maybe mean that the timeline for Mickey and Minnie's is going to shrink up and you know, that they're trying to, like, get it done? Because normally you'd have to schedule that overnight, right? And make it like, okay, well, we only have, you know, we have this many days to do it overnight and this many hours per night, so it's going to take longer, as opposed to, hey, if we started this at 2 in the afternoon, we could be done in one day, as opposed to 3 overnights. Or,
well, I mean, it could be that. It could be the availability of the workers. It could be the availability of the machines. Like, it
maybe
it
they
could
don't
be
want to
something
pay those
like
overnight fees. Could be more for that kind of stuff because it's
so
dangerous
many
work.
Different, yeah, there's so many different reasons, like, that we just won't know unless we have somebody that actually.
But regardless,
back there.
Like you're saying, it was kind of.
It was jarring.
That's what I was going to say. It was a jarring experience for people to see Disney theming being demoed.
Dude.
As opposed to, like, one day it's there, one day it's not, but you're seeing the actual, like, you know, with
it was graphic. It was very graphic. That's all I could say is it was graphic. I was like, so now the Gag Factory's gone.
Yeah, Five and Dime Gag Factory, which was one and the same.
Wow, that's so crazy. Thank goodness we have all the videos.
Yeah.
Of going in there and whatnot.
And we had just been over there kind of tripping on all that.
But we weren't in what was, since the park has reopened, we should clarify. Since the park has reopened, we weren't in the Gag Factory or Five and Dime
No, not in there, but just like in that general area.
We were back in Toontown.
Yeah, and basically it's, if you're looking at the City Hall, it's that building to the right that flanked it in between there and Roger Rabbit. And which, you know, that's where they're going to put the facade clearly for the El Capitan.
Yeah, I know it's jarring and it's wild, but at the same time, it's like, it's definitely the upgrade. Like, Toontown really needed a little bit of, like, TLC. Yeah. Because it's just this somewhat, other than Roger Rabbit's. Yeah. Other than Roger Rabbit's, you know, and maybe Go Coaster Gadgets if you're, you know, maybe the little ones and you know, the houses, but there's a lot of people that didn't make it a point to go back there.
Well, yeah, because it's, like you said, it's 2 attractions. If you exclude...
I mean, you do have the characters' houses.
Right, but, I mean, I guess those are attractions, but at the same time, like, maybe rides. I'll say rides. I know that's the, you know, bad word to use, but there was only 2 rides back there, and it's a big area.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're, you know, doing this makes a lot of sense, and it's right in the middle where there is nothing really. There's just theming and some restaurants
and it's really hot. I always say that, like, there's something about Toontown.
We need more Toon trees.
We need trees. We need just, like, shade. It is so hot. But the one thing that I loved about Toontown that makes me excited for the holiday season is I loved going back there during December, January, when the Christmas lights are still up. And I loved it because so many people would just not go back there. It would generally, 9 times out of 10, be empty, and I would go shopping in the Gag Factory because for some reason that store rocked. And then you're just back there by yourself with all these lights, and I think we have a video on it where we went back to Toontown and just looked at the decorations in Toontown alone. Yeah. Because Mickey has his decorations. The Gag Factory had its own decorations. They all had their, like, Chip and Dale had theirs, and they're all themed to the character, like Goofy's. Right. It was so cool, and there was something about that I loved, and so I'm really interested to see how they do it this year. Like, also, are they going to put back a merch situation, maybe in the exit? Because you know how they exit through the gift shop a lot of times through. Dude, Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway merch? Of course they're going to. Like in Orlando, they have that little store when you walk out. That's just like a cart. I think they're going to do like an actual store. Oh, 100%. Oh, 100%.
Cool.
I'd be willing to bet money on it. Speaking of holidays, a lot of people keep asking, are we going to be there July 4th at Disneyland for the return of the fireworks?
Yes.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes.
Check yes.
Resounding yes. We'll be there, yeah.
The other holiday is the anniversary. We'll be there for that
July
too.
17th. We will also be there. Big month, July, because you've also got the Matterhorn coming back. You've got...
Hours increasing to 10 p.m. closing.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, it's on the calendar.
Okay.
There's sometimes I tell Spencer things like
no, I
throughout the
remember,
week.
but I also heard... I watched a little channel called Fresh Baked.
Oh, okay.
And I listened to David talk a lot about... He said something about extended hours and that it's not happening anytime soon, that maybe in the fall. But I think he was talking about 11 o'clock or midnight.
No, the midnight close.
All
That's
right.
what we're used to.
Okay.
Oh, Spencer.
Well, I'm just,
Oh, Spencer.
No. But yeah, so it's, overall it's been crazy because we're kind of at a culmination of all the opening. You know what I mean? I remember right before this we did a vlog at the beach saying like, it's like it's the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Because we knew how crazy all this would be, along with Avengers and...
Yeah, you kind of can't keep up with it all. It's like...
It was a whirlwind and now we're here.
You look like you're sinking into the couch.
I'm leaning
like
back.
Really, I know, but you look like really cozy. Like I just looked at you in the return camera and I was like, you look like you're gonna like go to sleep and you're cozy.
Just on the couch chilling.
You're making me want to just make it all cozy. Sorry.
You have your weird little pillow.
Hey, this was sent to us from, I forgot the name, but somebody sent that to us.
I know.
Why'd you call it weird?
Just because you're constantly messing with it.
I know, huh? Love it, sorry.
So, yeah, just being the culmination of all the excitement and all of the stuff that we've been waiting for such a long time. It's weird. It's a little bit like shell-shocked on the other side of it. Like,
totally.
Woo! Like, okay. Like, now it's starting to, like, calm down and things are stretching out and time's kind of moving a little slower because it was a whirlwind for a bit.
You just cannot keep up with it all. It's
no,
like,
there's so much going on. And
it's really fluid.
Yeah, and there's stuff that we didn't even think of happening, and like, oh, did you hear this is happening? Oh my gosh, okay.
Right.
So it's interesting being on this side of it, and we're now, going into summer. It's officially summer now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. The 21st of June.
Do you know what that means when it's officially summer?
I don't know, but she's got this kind of smug look on her face. I'm a little scared.
I mean, it's a certain season. It's Leo season.
Oh boy.
That means it's someone's birthday. Woo! Not till August.
That's
but
August.
You know what? All of August is pretty much my birthday. So we basically have one more month until my birthday.
Yeah, we're still in June, so calm down.
July's happening soon. And like it's like 3 days away or something.
I love how birthday month is now extended into birthday season. Or like birthday quarter.
Well, like Leo season is when I am my most fierce. Like when you know it, like I know it, I feel it, I don't even need a calendar, and like I just know, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just know it's Leo season. Like it is a time for happiness, for joy.
It's always a time for happiness and joy, not just...
but like extra, it's almost like Christmas, I would say. Like, you know how where everybody's just so happy and like, it's when I become the more fierce version of my already fierce self.
I fear that. I genuinely fear that.
Leos are just number one, baby.
Oh no.
Anywho, so, yeah, it's just crazy. It's summer. It's just going to be such a fun summer.
Well, and, we hadn't planned anything because of everything that was happening. Like, we adjusted plans for when we went to Walt Disney World just so that we could be here for Disneyland, and then jumped out there, and everything had to be moved a little bit just to accommodate, what was happening here. But now that everything is kind of calmed down, we've got like a good dose of Disneyland. Yeah. And I think we're going to go back to doing like what we were doing, where we're kind of mixing it up with some home vlogs. Yeah. We're going to try to take our trips every month. We already have the next
2 trips planned.
Right, like minimum, like, you know.
Yes, that's a minimum. Very minimum.
Like, you never know, we could...
Is a trip a month.
We could fit in some other things, road trips, or who knows what. You just never know with us. It could be like, hey, let's go drive to wherever tonight, or let's go stay.
I will say
over here.
our July trip. So our July trip right now is a smaller one, but our June trip, which we're going to talk about in a minute here, is a little bit of a bigger one. And then same thing with our August trip. And the August one I'm most excited for. Like I'm giddy with excitement about it. Like I think about it every day. It's giddiness.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because you said July trip, and I was like, oh wait, well this first trip is June into July, actually.
Yes.
It's coming up.
Yes.
And I guess some of you may know, we've talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, so we are going to...
Las Vegas.
Woo!
Nevada. Not New Mexico, Nevada. Las Vegas, Nevada.
There's a Las Vegas in New Mexico?
Yeah.
Wow, it's like the Florida-California thing.
Yeah.
Are you lying to me?
No.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if you were joking.
No.
So yeah, we're going to Las Vegas. We're going with a couple friends.
Yeah.
We're just... It's going to be so crazy because even the last time we were there, as, you know, Wild Wild West as it was, it's still going to be a little bit different because
I think
it's
New Year's
back.
was the last time we were there, right?
Yep. And back then, it was still, I don't even think, maybe vaccines were...
They were just starting
to creep out, maybe?
Yeah, or maybe...
I
don't even know, but all I know is there were still restrictions, and it was still...
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you were at the pool, I remember, you know, unless you were in the pool, you had to still wear your mask.
Oh, right.
Remember?
I know we weren't vaccinated yet, too, so
No,
and right
you know,
there.
Walking around and all that stuff, it was still, you know, a thing, and so...
even outside, huh?
Even outside, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I remember we cruised the Strip on New Year's, remember, and it was like kind of like a mix of, there were some people not wearing them, and we were kind of like, whoa.
And that was during, and I remember we had some things planned, and we had to scrap the videos because there wasn't enough mask compliance, and for us
too many people, and we were just kind of like, whoa.
Well, for us not being vaccinated, it wasn't something we felt 100% comfortable with.
Right.
And you know, if people did whatever, that's on them. We're not here to judge. But
was like,
for us,
it was like not wearing like pads on a half pipe skate ramp, like
it's just what it felt like to us.
We
but
were like,
again,
we're dropping in.
Yeah,
I want to be wearing my pads. You know, like it's still dangerous to drop in, but like if you're wearing pads, you mitigate the risk. So. It was very different, and then, you know, I remember hearing when the pools became, you know, open as far as like, you know, no more masks at the pools, and then slowly, you know, no masks at all. Vegas is 100% open. The capacities are back. I've been paying attention and watching, you know, some Vegas vlogs, and it seems like it's fully back. There's buffets, there's shows, there's, you know, everything that Vegas is. And is pretty much back.
Like Disneyland.
Yeah, I think it is. It's the adult Disneyland, and
so
I mean, there's even
fun.
stuff for kids to do there, so I should say that. But
yeah,
it definitely has. There's a lot of parallels between Vegas and Disneyland, and for
there's
us,
so much to see. There's so much to do.
Entertainment is the focus, and you know.
I feel like my biggest struggle on this trip is going to be the diet. Because I really, like, I will treat myself, but I can't go too crazy because then I just don't feel that great.
Yeah.
So I think, like, that's going to be my hardest thing, but I do plan, which I think we need to talk about some of the plans that we have.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things that we're really excited to do is we are going to go to one of the biggest buffets in Las Vegas. I've got, it's very different now. You can actually make reservations. I think they might actually be required, but I made reservations, so we're going to go do that.
That'll be fun.
That's one of the nights that we're there. We're actually going to be there quite a few nights, and
you know what's funny is, I've been going to Vegas a long time. I don't think I've ever technically done a buffet, like a legitimate buffet.
What?
Yeah, I don't think I have. I'm trying to remember.
Dude, I spent a Thanksgiving as a kid at one of the Caesars buffets.
Yeah, I don't think I've done, like, I've done brunches before, which are very similar, like giant, spreads, at restaurants, but I've not done
Oh my gosh,
like
this is shocking.
like a Las Vegas buffet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so growing up, we went to Vegas a lot. My parents loved it. My dad loves it. He's like Chevy Chase in
Vegas Vacation.
Vegas Vacation. That is my father 100%. Like, I watch that movie to this day. First of all, love Chevy Chase, but watch this movie to this day because it reminds me of my dad.
Yeah.
And that is when he would be sitting at the breakfast table with us and like have to go like, granted he didn't lose the whole time, but
right.
that
he'd be like,
is
I gotta go use the restroom, and then he'd go play a few games.
Oh dude, he'd
be gone 45 minutes.
Yeah, he'll wake up in the middle of the night and he would like go gambling and like wait, and we would just be like, Dad, like, I would always laugh and hear him and my mom. But that's why
it's so funny.
The thing is though, is that's him, but then that's him also with buffets.
Okay.
So we would go to the Oz buffet at the MGM Grand, and as a kid, the Wizard of Oz plus a buffet, I mean, even if I wasn't like, it was just so much fun because you're like, oh, the theming was incredible.
Yeah.
But so we always went to a bunch of buffets because my dad loved it so much.
And I think as a kid, like the buffet thing for me anyways, like it's
so
like
much fun.
Well, there's so much choice and you're able to like have whatever you want, and so as a kid you're kind of overwhelmed, like really, like I could have
14,
all that.
Yeah, like 14 cookies and
yeah,
dude, it was so
that'll
much
be fun. I'm excited about that. We're also going to a show. We booked.
Yeah, we're having a little date night.
Yeah, we Katie's never seen a show in Vegas.
Never.
And I haven't seen one in a long time.
Yeah.
And so we decided on going to see O.
Yeah, Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil's O, the water show that they have
Bellagio.
at Bellagio, which to me is one of the most technically advanced productions I've ever seen. I saw it a long, long time ago, and I've always wanted to see it again. And even though you haven't seen it, for me it'll be just as awesome because I just, it's so amazing and technically insane. But we'll talk about that. We'll obviously give you our little review because we can't film it or anything like that. But we're doing that. We're doing, there's a bunch of stuff that we have on a list that every time we go to Vegas we do this, and we don't usually achieve half the things on our list, but
yeah, we're lucky to get half. The other thing I want to try to do is get Dale and Paula and try to meet up with them so that we can
that's always a must.
Buy them lunch or breakfast or something. But I know how it is, like when people come into town, you have to think about like how many people come into town from our friends that go to Disneyland, and it's hard because you're also having to work because
we already have a schedule and
we live here. It's very different when you live in the destination because we still have to carry on and
it's like when we go to Walt Disney World and we try to get time with our friends who live there.
Right,
it's very similar because they're in their rhythm and they're like, oh, we already had our park day yesterday.
Yeah, or they had an annual pass.
Yeah.
And their reservation system is just different. So
and for those guys, for Dale and Paula, like this is their season. They're back in. They moved into their new place, so now they're just like they're back to their rhythm of shooting vlogs. So hopefully, I hope we can get some time with them.
Me too.
At the very least, we'll at least just to get to see them.
Yeah.
We also are. What's the other thing we were going to do? Well, I wanted to go to the pinball museum if I can. Because I am a huge pinball fan.
I don't know if you can even film in there.
Yeah, I don't know either, but we'll see. But either way, it's going to be great, and it's going to be some much needed kind of chill time. Even though we're shooting, we are going to.
Yeah, we're not going to shoot the entire time. Thankfully, I think we're going to probably shoot
There may be a day off in there somewhere.
Yeah, a couple. I think we're going to take at least 2 days off.
She says that, and then I usually will adjust that to 1 day.
It'll be 2.
Even if it's just Spencer Cam, and it's like, all right, Katie she's checked out, and we're gonna go for a cruise or something. I don't know. Who knows?
We'll see.
It'll be fun either way. And then we have I think we have a couple of days before we leave. Right?
Yeah, we have a few days before we leave.
So there'll be some Disneyland sprinkled in there before we go, I think.
Oh yeah, I think there's one more trip to Disneyland we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more trip to Disneyland.
Because there's some stuff that's happened that we didn't even...
It's just every single day there's something. So that's kind of why I'm happy that we're going at the right time, because I think by the time we come back, you know, before 4th of July, things will be even more different. Whereas,
well, a little
like,
further along.
It's kind of like every time we've been going now,
there's something new.
It's just one little thing. Whereas
something
it's like,
back that was
yeah, I want to come back and like have 5 new things. You
yeah,
know?
oh, you will.
I mean, the fact that like we're getting fireworks back. Oh,
it's amazing.
As many people keep asking about Fantasmic, by the way. Again, cast. Like every time somebody asks me something,
that takes not only
takes a city.
Not only the on stage cast, but the amount of people behind the scenes for Fantasmic is staggering. It's.
If you've ever seen them,
I think there's more people behind the scenes than there is in front of on the stage. To be fair.
Yeah, because I think they run around and do multiple roles. That's why, like, when you watch Fantasmic, I can't speak for Walt Disney World, but when you watch Fantasmic at Disneyland, appreciated a million, because the amount of technical stuff that needs to happen at every single point in time.
It's a big dance.
It is insane, especially if it is true what I've heard that they're doing multiple roles.
Oh yeah.
Between the costume changes, the marks that they hit, it is one of the most remarkable shows
and you're talking
you'll
about,
ever see.
You know, technical, you know, stuff, and you're talking about, you know, humans and integrating all these effects, and it's wild. And
so wild. But I think, again, when people ask about, is this coming back, is this coming back, is this coming back, I continue to sound like the broken record.
Yeah.
Cast. Need to hire more cast.
The perfect cast.
Needs to come back. Yeah. Cast. Is this coming back? Cast. Is this coming back? Cast.
Right.
Cast.
Plus, yeah, they got to train new people because there's a lot of new folks coming in.
But again, it all boils back down to cast.
Yeah.
Got to get them rehired. Think about it. They're used to having, again, I throw random numbers out, and I said this on What's Happening Wednesday. But like, say that Disneyland is used to having 50,000 employees. Right now, they're running at like with 12,000. And every week they, you know, hire a couple thousand more. It's very different because people's lives changed over this pandemic. People's needs financially maybe changed. There's just so much.
For a place that used to operate basically 24/7 and to be halted for over a year, it does make sense that it's going to take a while to get that car up to speed. It's one thing to get the car started and to finally get it moving, and then to kind of realize, oh wow, you know, there's a few things we got to fix along here. That wheel's wobbling over there. That thing's rattling back there. We got to tighten that up, and
then
you know, it's to get that thing up to that operating speed. Something that has been going for years and years and years and years.
It's used to what it is,
right?
But then a lot of people are asking as well about like the holidays. What can we expect as far as Halloween, Christmas? Now, as far as Halloween goes, if I had to take a guess, if you were to just, you know, ask me like, hey, what do you think about Halloween coming back, a Oogie Boogie Bash, I would say probably not, because I think tickets would have went on sale already.
This is when they would normally start to become available for APs and things like that.
Things I do think we might get, maybe we'll get little cavalcades.
But that's that's another fluid situation that, you know, whatever we do get will be slimmed down because, and I only say that because it would have had to have been announced by now. Cast. No, I know, but I'm saying the fact that it hasn't been announced or talked about every day that it's not talked about means if anything happens, it's going to be slimmer and less involved.
Which, I mean, look at how slimmed down it is at Walt Disney World.
Right, because it takes a lot to get those things going, and those things take a year to plan. Like a Rose Parade takes like the year to plan, you know.
Yeah, and even if they were to just take the plans from next year.
Right.
So personally, I think
But that's another conversation, I think, that, you know, we'll get into.
But will we get decorations? Of course.
Probably.
Oh, no, not even probably. Winky Blinky Mickey, he's coming back.
Oh, boy.
We will get decorations. We will get a lot of things. Same thing with Christmas.
Meantime, we have a lot of summer to deal with in the
It's going to be one fun summer. I'm ready for it.
I thought you were going to say one hot summer.
Well, it is going to be a hot summer, too.
It is.
Technically, it's going to be a good time.
It's already been a hot summer.
Yeah,
it has.
It has.
So I think that that pretty much covers it as far as
Your hand. I was like, what was tickling me? I was like, seriously, do you know how scary that is on the back of your neck? Like, all of a sudden you just feel that. It's like, oh! You're lucky I had coffee in my hand. I almost spilled it.
You guys would have seen it.
Yeah.
But I think that concludes this weekly blab. I hope you're excited for Vegas. We are. We will show you as much as we possibly can of that. We've got, like I said, we've got some ideas for some vlogs and some destinations and things. And
so if you actually want to see Vegas, if you want to see lots of fun trips, and you want to stay up to date on Disney, Disneyland, Disney World, and maybe eventually all the other Disney parks, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Do yourself the best. Give yourself the best gift after 2020, something you deserve. Hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this weekly, not weekly blab, you can give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, you can hit that little button that has a thumb on it.
Please do it.
Yeah, that helps drastically. And I liked your pitch there. That was very professional.
Thank you.
What's happening here?
A lot.
All right, you guys. We'll see you next time on the Weekly Blab and on Best Life and Beyond. Bye-bye, everybody.
I'm still waving.
Still waving.
I'm still waving. See how long we can keep this wave going for.
We're done in 3, 2, 1.